Hey everyone, Adam here. Today we're diving into something absolutely fascinating, the psychology behind language learning. And I've got my British friend Jessica joining me to demonstrate these techniques.
Hello, everyone. That's right. We're not just going to tell you how to learn. We're going to explain why these methods work based on actual brain science.
Now, if you've been struggling to learn English, or any language really, you might think you're just not talented enough. But here's the truth. Your brain is already wired to learn languages. You just need to hack into the right systems.
We're going to share 5 psychological tricks that language scientists have discovered. These aren't just theory, they're backed by neuroscience research.
So grab a notebook, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how to make your brain work for you instead of against you. Let's get started.
Brain hack number 1 is called the emotional attachment effect. Here's the science. Your brain remembers things much better when emotions are involved. It's why you remember embarrassing moments from years ago, but forget what you studied last week.
So here's the hack. When you're learning new words or phrases, attach a personal story or emotion to them. Let me give you an example. Jessica, let's say I want to learn the phrase over the moon.
Right, which means extremely happy or delighted. Now, Adam, instead of just memorizing the definition, you should think, when was a time you were over the moon?
Oh, that's easy. When I got accepted to college, I was absolutely over the moon. I remember calling my mom and just screaming with joy.
Perfect. Now, every time you hear over the moon, your brain won't just recall a definition, it'll recall that emotional memory. That's a much stronger neural connection.
The key here is don't just learn words in isolation. Connect them to your life, your experiences, your emotions. Your brain is designed to remember emotional events because, evolutionarily, emotional events were often important for survival.
One study found that people remembered vocabulary 70% better when they connected words to personal memories versus just reading definitions. That's massive.
So your action step. For the next 10 words you learn, write down a personal memory or emotion connected to each one. It might take an extra minute, but your retention will skyrocket. Brain hack. Number 2 is the spacing effect, and this one completely changed how I study. Jessica, explain the science here.
Gladly. Your brain doesn't learn like a computer downloading files all at once. Instead, it learns through a process called consolidation, where information moves from short-term to long-term memory during sleep and rest periods.
So cramming the night before an exam? Terrible idea. Your brain literally needs time to process and store information.
Exactly. Here's the hack. Instead of studying English for 3 hours straight on Saturday, study for 30 minutes every day. The spacing allows your brain to consolidate information between sessions.
But here's where it gets really interesting. You want to review material right before you're about to forget it. Not too early, not too late.
This is called the optimal forgetting point. When you struggle slightly to recall something and then remember it, you create a much stronger memory than if you reviewed it when it was still fresh.
So the pattern should be learn something new today, review it tomorrow, then review it again in 3 days, then a week later, then a month later. Each time, you're catching it right before it fades.
There's actually an app-based technique called spaced repetition that automates this. Apps like Anki use algorithms to show you flashcards at optimal intervals.
But you don't need an app. Just use a simple calendar system. When you learn a new phrase, write it in your calendar to review it tomorrow, Then schedule the next review for 3 days out.
The research is clear. Spaced repetition can improve retention by up to 200% compared to massed practice. That's learning 3 times more efficiently with the same amount of effort. Brain hack number 3 is the active production principle. Adam, most learners make a critical mistake here.
Let me guess. They focus too much on consuming content and not enough on producing language?
Spot on. Watching English TV shows, reading books, listening to podcasts, these are all helpful, but they're passive. Your brain learns differently when you actively produce language.
The science here is about neural pathways. When you speak or write, you activate different parts of your brain. The motor cortex, Broca's area for speech production, and planning regions. These create stronger, more diverse neural connections.
Think of it like this: watching someone swim versus actually swimming yourself. You can watch Olympic swimmers all day, but until you get in the water, your body won't learn the movements.
So here's the hack. Follow the 70 to 30 rule. For every 70 minutes you spend consuming English content, spend 30 minutes actively producing it.
But Adam, many learners say, I'm not ready to speak yet. I need to learn more vocabulary first. What would you tell them?
That's backwards thinking. You learn vocabulary by speaking, not before speaking. Making mistakes is actually how your brain learns. When you make an error and get corrected, your brain flags that information as important.
There's a phenomenon called the generation effect. Information you generate yourself, even if imperfectly, is remembered better than information you passively receive.
So your action step: start a voice journal. Every day, record yourself speaking for just 2 minutes about your day. Don't worry about mistakes. The act of producing language is what matters.
Or find a language exchange partner online. Even 15 minutes of conversation per week will accelerate your learning exponentially compared to passive study alone.
Brain hack number 4 is the contextual learning effect. Jessica, this one's fascinating because it explains why traditional textbook learning often fails.
Right. Your brain doesn't store words like a dictionary, one word, one definition. Instead, it stores words in networks of context and association.
So when you learn the word run from a textbook definition, your brain just has one weak connection. But when you encounter run in different contexts, run a marathon, run a business, run out of time, you build multiple strong connections.
The science behind this is called contextual encoding. The same neurons that process the word also process the surrounding context, so they get linked together in memory.
Here's a perfect example. Jessica, when I say break, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Break a leg. That's the theatrical phrase for good luck. Or perhaps, take a break.
See? You didn't just think of the definition to separate into pieces. You thought of actual phrases and contexts where you've heard the word used.
So the hack is this: never learn words in isolation. Always learn them in phrases or sentences. Better yet, learn them in multiple different contexts.
Instead of flashcards that say, obtain to get, create flashcards with full sentences. I need to obtain a visa. She obtained her degree. They obtained permission.
And here's an advanced technique: learn words in stories. When you read or listen to a story, your brain activates the same neural regions as if you were experiencing the story yourself. This creates incredibly strong memories.
That's why you might remember exactly where you were when someone told you a powerful story. but you can't remember isolated facts from a textbook.
Your action step: for every new word, collect at least 3 different example sentences. Write them down, or better yet, find them in real content: movies, podcasts, articles.
And bonus points if you create your own sentences using the word in different contexts. Remember, active production.
And finally, brain hack number 5: the interleaving technique. This one goes against everything you've been taught about studying.
So true. Traditional advice says to master one thing completely before moving to the next. Learn present tense perfectly, then move to past tense. But brain science says that's actually inefficient.
The more effective approach is called interleaving, mixing different topics together in the same study session. So you might practice present tense, then switch to past tense, then practice conditionals, then back to present tense.
Now, this feels harder. It feels messy and confusing. And that's exactly why it works.
When your brain has to switch between different concepts, it's forced to actively discriminate between them. You learn not just what each concept is, but also how to tell them apart and when to use each one.
Think about it. In real conversation, you don't use just one grammar tense. You constantly switch between them. So practicing them mixed together is actually more realistic.
Studies show that interleaved practice improves long-term retention by about 40% compared to blocked practice, even though it feels more difficult during the learning phase.
So here's the hack. When you study, don't do all your vocabulary, then all your grammar, then all your pronunciation. Mix them up. Do some vocabulary, practice pronunciation of those words, then do a grammar exercise using those words, then switch to different vocabulary.
And within each category, mix it up too. If you're learning phrasal verbs, don't do all the get phrasal verbs together. Mix get up, turn off, look into, get over, all in the same practice session.
Your brain will thank you later, even if it feels harder now. Remember, if it feels too easy, you're probably not learning as effectively as you could be.
So there you have it. 5 brain hacks backed by psychological research. Let's quickly recap.
Number 1. Emotional attachment effect. Connect words to personal memories and emotions.
Number 2. The spacing effect. Study in shorter sessions spread over time and review at optimal forgetting points.
Number 3. Active production principle. Spend 30% of your time actually speaking and writing, not just consuming content.
Number 4. Contextual learning effect. Always learn words in phrases and multiple contexts, never in isolation.
Number 5. Interleaving technique. Mix up different topics in the same study session instead of mastering one thing at a time.
The beautiful thing is, these techniques work together. You can do interleaved practice with spaced repetition, using emotional attachments and active production.
Your brain is an incredible learning machine. You just need to work with its natural processes instead of against them.
So pick just one of these hacks and try it this week. Then come back and let us know in the comments which one worked best for you.
And if you found this helpful, smash that like button, subscribe for more psychology-based learning tips, and we'll see you in the next video. Happy learning!